Well, hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I am Susan, I'm your hostess, and today we have a friend mail call and some thrifty fun. And y'all, I am sick, so bear with me. I have a sinus crud going on. It's from sinus allergies, from all the trees that are in bloom right now. But we received this package. It's a small package, and inside the package was this adorable little red panda plushie. It doesn't play because the little box is gone, but it is still very, very cute. And I'm going to allow my grandson to play with this once I get it washed up when he comes to visit. So, y'all, thank you very much for thinking about me and my little grandson. I really do appreciate your friendship. Y'all go visit Dream Big Productions Plush Bat Fan. I have got them in the description box below this video and also in the title, so all you have to do is click on their link and you can go visit our friends, Dream Big Productions Plush Bat Fan. I was beginning to think I wasn't going to make it to any thrift stores this week, but my husband was so sweet and he drove me to several thrift stores over the weekend, and my friend and I went and visited one during the week. And I came across a lace tablecloth, y'all. This is a beautiful lace tablecloth. Let me get it opened up a little bit so you can see. It is just a beautiful lace. Beautiful, beautiful. This is a machine lace, I do believe. It's not crocheted. I do believe it is a machine lace, but we paid $4 for it, and they had just received it on that date. The thrift store that we go to date their items now so they know when to mark them down, which I thought was really lovely, and that's going to be used on special occasions in my house. I'm very excited to have a beautiful lace tablecloth. I'm going to get some of this glass stuff out of the way, and then we can move on to other items that we picked up. I did pick up another canister. Y'all have seen these before. These are really good to store your dry goods in, your macaroni noodles or rice or beans or anything like that. Instant mashed potatoes, stuff like that. And we paid $1. It's got a really good gasket on it. And there was nothing wrong with the jar, so that's going to get cleaned up and it will be used in my kitchen or in my pantry for when we have more dry goods to store. I also picked up a shallow bowl, and this is a Tabletops Unlimited Italian fruit. It was made in China, but it's got a beautiful decoration on it, and I paid $1 for that. This is going to be the replacement for the bird bath I have out in my yard, and I'm going to use some EE or E6000 glue, or I'm going to use a bondable glue that is specifically made for outdoor use to adhere this to the stand that's already out there that was broken recently, and that will be the replacement for the bird bath. So that was my thought there. You know, I repurpose and reuse what I can. I'm going to show you the price on this one. It was $5. And y'all, this is a vintage. Let me see if I can get the tape off. It may take me a moment. Hang on. Don't you hate when they put tape on items? I know I do, especially when you got to get it off. But this is a vintage Fiesta ware butter dish. And there's nothing wrong with it, you can see, other than it needs a little cleaning. And it's an item that's made in the USA, and it is Fiesta. So that's going to be used in our home. I am super, super excited that he found this. Couldn't imagine finding any Fiesta ware in a thrift store, but that was our find. And this is one of my very much loved items. We also found a vintage bow maker. This makes my third one. I did gift one of them to my friend, and I may gift another one to someone else that is in need of one, but this one actually had all the dowel pieces with it. This is Frein Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. And they have a place for your ribbon spools to go, and it is the Lion Ribbon Company Incorporated right there. And we paid a whopping $1. My husband came across that. He has a great eye for thrifting, y'all. This is an all metal piece, and it says welcome. I think it is painted to look like brass, but it's not brass, and it needs a little dusting. It's got some cobwebs on it, but isn't that cute? We're going to put that somewhere outside, and we paid $5 for that piece. Get that out of my way. I came across this mold. It is a leaf mold, a silicone leaf mold, and I use these for when I make soaps, which I haven't done yet in over 2 years, but when I get ready to make soaps, I'll have plenty of molds to work with. This was a green tag. It was $1.99. I think that was a good price for that. It's going to make some really pretty fall looking soaps. And I also got this at Goodwill. This is a creative coloring book for adults. This is a Scandinavian folklore, or folk patterns. And so it's got all kinds of patterns inside. Like that. Real intricate. And there's one in here in particular that I really liked. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It took me a moment to find it, but it's got roosters, and I really liked that. Since we live on the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, why not put roosters on our cabinets? But it has all kinds of animals and birds and flowers. It's just really a pretty, pretty little book. So that will be used for patterns, and I might even use these to make embroidery patterns with. I probably will not color this book. But I paid $2.99 for that. Right there, $2.99. I picked up 2 of our local high school. I'm going to cover the name because I don't want y'all to see the name. But 2 of the local high school recipe books. The reason I covered the name is we have so many friends that we know that sent in recipes for this, and we don't want them being shared. But they also had advertisements of local businesses in the back. It was really a great find. Paid $1 a piece for these at one of our thrift stores. And pick up these last items over here. My husband found this 9-inch bracket for hanging plants, and we paid $1.50 for that. And of course, they had just gotten that in also. And we found a basket to use out in the garden, and we paid $3 for that. So those were the great finds on this side of me. Now I've got to go back to the other side. Let me get these out of my way. We really lucked out on cookbooks this time, y'all. A lot of cookbooks, but I'm going to talk about these 2 other books first. Well, this is actually a leaflet. This is Gift Jars and Recipes by Leisure Arts. And it's got all these cross-stitch items that you can make on the front cover. It's got the designs inside for those. It was originally $2. And it's got all the designs in there. And then on the back, it's got the recipes that you can put in your jars, which that's what I wanted it for, was the recipes. It was a quarter. It was originally $2, so 25 cents for that. Thought that was a really good buy. And I picked up this. This is that Patchwork Place handmade quilts. And I believe this is from 1988. It's from 1988, y'all. But it's got all kinds of patterns in here for, embroidery stitches. And then it's got patterns for all kinds of quilts. Let's see if I can find one in color for you. There's a color copy right there in the center of the book. And there is another candle wicking quilt top right there. Just really nice, and it's got a big, huge thing that you can pull out right here in the middle that you can embroider onto your quilts. It's also got the patterns inside, so that was a really good buy, and I think this was 50 cents, so that wasn't bad. Now we're going to get into the cookbooks. This is my other big item that I love. I love cookbooks, and I've got I had a total of 10, so you've seen 2 already. This first cookbook is from then till now, and it is Nashville, Tennessee, Davison County Recipes from 1976. And the first recipe in here caught my eye because it is a canning recipe that I can can with. I will have to look up the process time on it, but it is for homemade tomato chili sauce. And it's got a lot of recipes in here that can be canned, and wonderful recipes from the area. And all of these cookbooks have information about the area in it. And this was this is an unusual collection of recipes that has been made possible through a group of retired teachers. It includes about 300 of their best tested recipes. Many of the recipes were handwritten. So it's also got equivalent charts and all kinds of information in the front of the book. Really good. We paid $1 each for these, y'all. You can't beat the price. This one says, from the kitchen of the best cooks. And this recipe book had a corrections page in here, but it's from, it was compiled and presented by the Ladies Auxiliary of the Bemis Pentecostal Church, Bemis, Tennessee, which is a community not too far from us. I'm not sure what year this was made, but there's the picture of the church right there. And it also had canning recipes in here and Alabama biscuits, y'all. Alabama biscuits in Bemis, Tennessee. Just all kinds of things. Big preserves. Just all kinds of things. And I was so excited to get this. And in the back of the book, it has your seasoning guide. Tells you what the seasonings are for. Most usual weights and measures, and information that is really good for anyone that wants to do any kind of household work. There's a cheese guide, how to lay out your table, and so much more information. It gives you terms used so that you'll understand what the terms mean, and it gives you a spot removal guide in the back of the cookbook. Really a handy little cookbook. This is our favorite recipes. And it is from the Music City Quilters Guild. And I believe this is another Nashville book. Let me just double check that. Well, this is published in Collierville, Tennessee. So anyway, it's also got all kinds of great recipes in here. It talks about bullseye fried eggs and just really a busy day stew and just all kinds of great recipes. Every single one of these recipe books I picked up have at least some canning recipes in it. And this one, has a microwave section, which I no longer own a microwave, but it was really interesting. So it was a great little cookbook to pick up. Our favorite recipes, Music City Quilters Guild put that out. This one is definitely the 70s, y'all. Look at the cover. This is Party Potpourri, and it's got all kinds of party recipes in here. It's got a whole section on party planning, different types of party planning, even before you get to the recipe section. And then you get into the recipes, and it's got some wonderful appetizers and items that you can, and it's just a big, thick cookbook. It has almost 300, well, it has over 300 pages. And it also has a section in the back that tells you about how to gild the lily and setting the scene and so forth. It's got some great recipes in the back. Some punches that you can make. Some southern type cocktails. It's got a depression cocktail in here that I thought was really interesting, even though I don't drink cocktails. It's got the bluegrass mint julep in here. And just a great recipe book. This one was put out by Crylike in 1998. And I have found that Crylike really puts out quality cookbooks. I've got several of their cookbooks. And it's got some advertisements in the front. Let me get past that. And I liked this one because it had some recipes for antipasto. There's an antipasto relish right here. And it also had some artichoke things and Dixie caviar. Dixie caviar. Has no caviar in it, but that is a real southern treat. So this is going to be another great cookbook to have on hand, and y'all are going to see me use some recipes out of these, I'm pretty sure. Really neat cookbook. This came from the Scottsboro United Methodist Church, Sharing Our Best, and it was a bicentennial cookbook. And the pastor put in here that putting the book together had been challenging and rewarding for the ladies of Scottsboro United Methodist Church. They're out of Nashville, Tennessee. Our church loves to eat together, and we do quite often. As a pastor, I have attended most of the dinners and tasted many of the recipes in this book. I can truly promise you that you are in for a treat. And you know, the best cooks come out of churches, y'all. And they also have a picture of their church right there with their worship time. This recipe book, the first recipe caught my eye was barbecue wing flings and Renee's artichoke dip. And then it had an old Jane Rose country biscuit recipe that was cut out of a newspaper inside of it. So this is a really great cookbook, and many a time ladies would cut out recipes and put inside their favorite cookbooks so they could find them. And somebody went through and wrote on several of the recipes, try. So these are going to be recipes I'm going to look at and be using. And it also has a lot of canning recipes in here also. And it also talks about your diet in the back and nutrition and what kind of foods to look for when you're grocery shopping. This one comes from Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's a taste of historic Lynchburg. And it has a lot of the recipes in it that I would use. It has soups and sauces, salads. It has a ham casserole. It has a lot of interesting recipes in here. Every now and then you find recipes that have an interesting name, like squash puppies. And I'm pretty sure that's similar to hush puppies. And bubble biscuits. So anyway, it also has a lot of great desserts in here, and cakes, cookies, and a few canning recipes. And every one of these books just about had canning recipes in it. This cookbook was extremely sentimental, I think, because of what's inside of it. This is Treasured Family Favorites, compiled by the Ladies' Circle of Glendale Christian Church. And inside of it was a sweet note with a recipe card attached. And I'm just going to read you the little note because it was so sentimental and sweet. This is from a grandma named Edna. This is May and Morris Lesser church they go to. That's my sister. They made this book and they sell them and want you to have one. It's got a lot of my recipes in it. I hope you will like, and I want you to cook all of them. They are good. Grandma Edna, I am so nervous and I can't write. And so she included another recipe that maybe didn't get in there, but it was the Morris chili recipe. And I thought that was really sweet. Right there on the side, inside of that. And it's to Rhoda from Grandma Edna, love you all. And just a really, really sweet thing. And it talks about how this church started in 1867. A portion of the membership of the Old Stone Church at Starr's Mill was built around 1824. Withdrew completely and began meeting in Glensdale, a more central location for many of them, at homes and various members. In 1868, 89 people signed their names to a covenant which marked the formation of Glendale Christian Church. And so it goes on to talk about the total cost of the building was $1,750. And the building remained as originally constructed with the exception of stained glass memorial windows, which began to be added in 1900. In 1908, 2 Sunday school rooms were added on the east end, costing $2,000, and later a basement was dug. In 1958, an auditorium was covered with paneling, and a 16-foot ceiling was lowered and covered with tile. And they had celebrated their 100th announcement board in front of the church was a gift to the church in honor of its 100th birthday given by Lewis and Catherine Gray. The marquee was constructed of stone from the old stone church at Starr Mills. A beautiful addition was constructed in 1987. Under the direction of Vince Rose, the administrative and education wing was undertaken by mostly volunteer labor and added 3,600 square feet to the facility. And the additional cost was a bargain at $85,000. So that's a big jump from where they started in price. 34 ministers have led the congregation since 1868. The present minister, Michael L. Bell, has been in the church since 1970. So that was inside the cover. And it has talks about who all did all the work on the book. And then, interesting in this cookbook and a few other ones is they have a place where you can mark the pages of the recipes that you really like. This one also has, right at the beginning of the cookbook, it has relishes and different things that you can can, which was also included in the appetizer section. So that was really interesting. And it has some nice recipes in here. And it also has another section for jams and jellies and preserves and stuff like that that can also be canned. So really just a nice cookbook. A lot of familiar recipes to me, and then there was a few in here that were different. Doo-Doo's oatmeal cookies. I thought that was an interesting name for a cookie. And they share a lot of their family recipes in here, which is really nice to have. It also had a few recipes in here for the sauce, like a barbecue sauce, which I'm always looking for a good barbecue sauce. And I had never heard of German spaghetti before, but there it is, y'all. And they have another one called Fideo. And they have beef broccoli Wellington and a Mexicali casserole. Just a lot of great recipes in this cookbook. So all of these cookbooks was really great. This one cookbook, though, I think it's this one. Nope. One of the cookbooks started out with the sweets, and then it went backwards to the meats. And I thought that was really interesting. Just the way that they had set it up. And I forgot to mention that when I was looking through the cookbooks. But all of these cookbooks have something special in them. And y'all, my husband says, you don't need no more recipe books. But yet he picked up 2 recipe books himself to go into our collection. And I'm really excited that I'll be able to look through these and find great recipes to share with y'all. We need to remember these old recipes because we might need them in the future. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do with those thumbs. And even if you give me this, you know, that's okay too. Y'all, Jesus loves you from the top of your head to the soles of your feet and everything in between. And I love you also, but He loves you more. Come back and see me next time. Maybe I'll be a little bit better.